Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So we are looking at the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, and after discussing that, the Acharya now goes into the meditation slokas that we are doing now from the Viveka Chudamani. And in the process, one has to recognize that there is a three essential aspects that have been discussed. One is Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaivanaparaha. So Brahma Satyam, Satyam means that which is eternally the same, unchanging, Trikala Abaditam Satyam, that which doesn't undergo any modification. And if anything is modifying, then that's not really real. It's not Satyam. So therefore, that which is Satyam, which remains the same, and only thing that satisfies is Brahman. Brahman means infiniteness. Infiniteness alone can be changeless, because changes can be done only by a finite things. Finite things can undergo a modification, but infinite cannot undergo modification, including the creation aspects. Brahman, from the Brahman point, there is no creation also, because creation involves a modification. So Nitya Vastuhu, which is same as the eternally same, unchanging, and therefore, and that is the nature, it has to exist, and it's not a sunyam, it's not absence of everything, but it's the very presence of itself as the consciousness and existence, and therefore it is that which is the essence of the whole universe itself, and that is the cause for the whole universe. Also, even though itself doesn't become anything, it appears to be the cause for the creation through Maya Shakti. All that we discussed in terms of what's Ishvara. Ishvara is nothing but the Brahman reflected in the Maya is Ishvara. And what is the role of Ishvara? He is given a karma paladata. He is the one who gives the results of the action. And creation is the karma palam. That means it's a result of all the actions that are done, or vasanas that are done in the previous life cycle of all the jivas, and therefore jivas are eternal, and the actions that are done or vasanas are eternal, and therefore the karma that are caused for the creation is also eternal. So therefore it's a continuous, the creation, sustenance and annihilation is a continuous cycle, and it is done by Ishvara using the Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti is nothing but the total vasanas all put together is the sense of the Maya. So it is avidya. Actions are done because of avidya. So it is avidya janita, the karmas, and that becomes a potential for creation. So therefore the Maya is a potential power, rests with the Mayavi, the locus of the Maya, and that is nothing but Ishvara. So in a way, the Brahman, as though quote unquote is reflected in the Maya, is called Ishvara. Brahman reflected in the local Buddhi is Jiva. And from the point of Brahman, therefore both Ishvara and Jiva is nothing but the Brahman only, but reflecting medium is different. In the case of Jiva, it is the local Antahkaranam is the reflecting medium, and reflection occurs because the original light is there and the reflective medium is there, therefore reflection automatically occurs. Therefore wherever there is this antahkaranam, that means there is a subtle body is there is a reflection of consciousness consciousness is there. Only when there is, only in the gross body is not capable of reflecting the consciousness part. Therefore, it only reflects the existence part. So, whole universe is existing, and that existence, the Sat aspect, is Brahman that pervades the whole universe. Because there cannot be anything other than Brahman. Brahman being infinite, he has to pervade the whole universe, and he becomes Adhishthanam, because that which is the very support from which the universe exists. So any existence of any object in the world exists only because of it is, or due to support by the existence principle. That's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Sat Pratyaya Kinnu Vihaya Santam. So Santam Vihaya, without the principle of existence, that is without Brahman, so can there be any existence of any object? Sat Pratyayam. Pratyayam means existence of expressed in terms of object. Can there be any object at all? So therefore, that itself is a dhyana sloka for him. That's the first sloka where he invokes the Mangala sloka, and he invokes the statement of truth itself is the dhyana sloka. Sat Pratyaya Kinnu Vihaya Santam Rudyeshu Chintarahito Hrdakyaha. So Katham Smaramah Tamameyamekam Tasya Smati Tatra Dudhaiva Nishtha. So Dudhaiva Nishtha is what we are going to do here later in terms of Jnana Nishtha, is what? Abiding in the knowledge that the whole everything is nothing but Brahman, because there cannot be any existence of any object without the principle of existence. So the whole creation is manifested through existence. Brahman is manifested through existence in the inert object. In the subtle object, we have both Sat and Chit, where the subtle object exists, plus it has a capacity to reflect the consciousness also. Therefore, the buddhi is as though become a conscious entity due to the reflection process. That's called the Chidabhasa. So, Chidabhasa plus the Chit or the mind together constitutes the reflecting medium and reflected consciousness. Reflection cannot occur without the original consciousness. So all the three components of Jiva is there. So Jiva includes the original consciousness, that is Satchidanandam, that is Brahman, plus the reflecting medium, that is the Buddhi, where it has only existence principle, and reflection that makes the Buddhi as though luminous entity, as though conscious entity. So Buddhi, thinking that being conscious entity due to reflection of the consciousness, thinks that I am a knower, I am a seer, I am a perceiver, I am a feeler, I am a thinker. All that notions arise in the Buddhi only because of the reflection of the consciousness. Reflection occurs because of original consciousness. So Buddhi, which is essentially Antakaranam, which is the subtle body, keeps undergoing changes because what I know before is different from what I know now. So the Buddhi is evolving, and the reflection also keeps changing, because reflection depends on the reflecting medium. Since the original light doesn't change, it's only the reflecting medium is changing. Therefore, the reflection also changes. If the medium is bright, reflection is also bright. If the medium is dull, reflection also will be dull. So the Buddhi, depending upon the purity of the Buddhi, the reflection occurs. That's why in the Atma Bodha, Sada Sarvagatopyatma Na Sarvatrava Bhasate Buddhya Veva Bhaseta Swacheshu Pradibimbavat. Says even though it is all pervading consciousness because it is Satchidananda Swarupam, only in the Buddhi it gets reflected. Sada Sarvagatopyatma. So Atma or Brahman is Sarvagataha, is infinite, all pervading, but Buddhya Eva Bhaseta. It reflects, Buddhi or only reflects the consciousness. So because the reflecting medium, only mirror it gets reflected. For the dull things it won't reflect that much. So depending upon the nature of the reflecting medium, only Sat aspect or Sat and Chit aspect and or Sat, Chit and Ananda aspect also will get reflected. Ananda will get reflected only when the mind is unperturbed, calm and quiet. So if it is agitated, reflection also gets agitated. So that's essentially suffering. The buddhi gets agitated, anxiety, all that neurotic problem comes into agitated mind. But when the mind, buddhi, is calm and serene, chantam, then the reflection also will be beautiful, and that's essentially what the consciousness also gets expressed in the not consciousness, the ananda also gets expressed when the mind is calm and quiet. That happens when my intense longing for an object is satisfied, because an agitated mind has suddenly become calm because the desire is fulfilled. Then I say I am happy. Happiness is not coming from the object. Happiness comes because of the reflection of the Ananda Swarupam of the Satchidananda Brahman. When it occurs, when the mind is calm and quiet. Mind is little bit disturbed, the happiness also little bit disturbed. If the mind is too much disturbed, then happiness is also completely disturbed. So I see only suffering only, and occasionally I find happiness, and most of the time I am with the sorrowful face all the time. Why? Because my mind is all the time worried. Worried is nothing but agitations in the mind. So all that is implied in understanding that. So once we understand I am that, what is the equation? It's not from the buddhi point, it's not from the Chidabhasa point, because they are the changing entity. From the jiva's aspect, it is the local buddhi and the reflecting Chidabhasa are the localized. From the Ishvara point, it is the Maya Shakti and the reflection of Ishvara. These two we are not equating, we are only equating that which is changeless, eternal, which is ever present. That is what is equated, and that is what Tattvamasi statement is implied. It is an equation of that Sakshi of the Jiva, Sakshi in the Jiva, and the Brahman of the Ishvara are equated. Why? Because they are nothing but Satchidanandam. Because the consciousness is unbroken, existence is unbroken, and Anantameva Anandam. So all that aspects is essentially Swarupa of the Brahman itself, and that's what is to be meditated on. Once I understood, I had to meditate on that, and that's what we are doing in terms of meditation slokas that started with 255 of the Viveka Chudamani, and we are now doing the 264 of the meditation slokas. Yachakasya naparam parat param, yachakasya naparam parat param, pratyageka rasam atma lakshanam, satyachit sukham anantam avyayam, brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. So yat chakasti, which is shining, says just chakastya anaparam, that itself is not any karyam by itself. That means anaparam is essentially tadetat brahma purvam anaparam is what the Shruti statement is. That is, there is no param after that, anaparam. Everything else is also not there, because in reality there is no creation even. From the point of Brahman, there is no creation. There is only apparent creation. Apparent appears because of the delusion. So there is an apparent snake there. There is no real snake there, because I see something at the same time I am misunderstanding it. So all that is implied in terms of projecting something other than what it is essentially is called adhyasa. So there is no real creation from the point of Brahman. And also Brahman means it itself is not created, because it is the essence. If it is created, then there is some other source, something else. So it is not a karanam nor a karyam, and that is aparam. So therefore there is nothing beyond also. Parat param, it is beyond the para, beyond the highest, higher than the highest. So para, higher than the highest means, one way interpretation is, Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami says that there are two aspects. One is, it is the beyond. Para means that which is ignorance, and beyond the ignorance means even the ignorance it illumines, but it's beyond that also. It is, ignorance cannot touch it, because it is ekameva advitiyam, one with infinite, nothing can be there to touch it. But at the same time, those who are under the influence of the ignorance, they say, I don't know, I am Brahman. So this teaching is only for the guys who think that they are not a Brahman. Says you have to recognize. So why should I know? I am Brahman. What do I gain by knowing that? What's the practical implication of all this Vedanta teaching? Practical implication is you find what you are looking for. What I am looking for is, in all your pursuits of life after life after life, what I am looking for is infinite absolute happiness that I am longing for. And scripture says you are looking for where it is not there. It is your own swarupam itself is the anandam. Recognize that, and that is the very essence of the life itself. That is the practical application. That means your life itself gets fulfilled, because everything else is only temporarily, and whatever you gain is only causing a more problem, because there is an asantruptikaram, and it's a problem in getting it, and problem in preserving it, and problem in if you lose it, and all that, and it's also bandhakatvam. You depend on something other than yourself for your happiness. When I try to satisfy my desires and go after, there is nothing wrong with it, but you will have a problem in the end, because desires will become more and more, and the competition will also become more and more, and every desire gets limited, and you are essentially going on. So who is the one who is practical application? Who doesn't have any more desires? Pradhati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. Why he doesn't have a desire? Because he doesn't need anything for his happiness. That's why he doesn't have a desire. Desire is, I want this because I don't have it, therefore I want it. So the one who has recognized that I am already Brahman, that means I am infinite, you cannot add anything more to him, because he has everything. That means he has no more desire for any object, since he knows that he himself is happiness, and any object is only giving his own happiness only through indirect way, and therefore he doesn't need all those desires. So therefore he is self-fulfilled, and that is essentially fullness of it, and that is very practical implication of, or so-called practical implication of Vedantic study. So here, this is Parat Param. It is beyond the Param. So one aspect is beyond the ignorance itself. So I don't see the sun. Why I don't see the sun? It is, clouds are covering it. How do you know the clouds are covering? I can see the clouds. In what light are you seeing the clouds? In the sunlight only. So that sunlight, because of which even ignorance is illumined, that is beyond the ignorance too. So Parat Param. And another way is, Parat refers to the Brahmaji, the firstborn Hiranyagarbha, and it's beyond that is the Karanam for Brahman also. That's why Parat Param. Pratyak Ekarasam, Pratyak Ekarasam, that one constant Ekarasam, I am, is the Ekarasam, oneness, because in every transactions, I say I am this, I am that. So whole the biodata of introduction of yourself is I am, on all this. So in every this one I am starts and everything else, and this is the basis of everyone's life, because I am comes, and then everything else that coming in terms of body wise, mind wise, intellect wise, and perceptions and the feelings and the thinking and all that is after I am only, and therefore that is Ekarasam, constant. The essence of every transaction involves I am. Without I am, I cannot even transact it, and therefore that is that Pratyaka Ekarasam, and that is Atma Lakshanam. That is my true nature that is being pointed out. Remember Lakshana Vakyam. I am not this, but I am that, because of which this can also be known. So it has to be intellectually cognized or intellectually recognized. That's why it's a realization. Analysis has to be done to know my true nature, and that I am is Pratyagatma, that is constant. I am will be there, and that is nature of Sat Satchit Sukham, Sat and Chit and Sukham. So it is nature of these Satchit Ananda Swarupam and Anantam. Anantam means it is infinite. So there is nothing other than that. So Satchidananda means I am infinite and there is nothing other than infinite. There is nothing other than myself. So if I see something other than myself, it's only in my projection, or I am the very adhara for all that also. So I am the essence of the whole universe too. I have to claim myself. So I am Atma, everything else is Anatma. Now including Ishvara, now there is no separate Ishvara, because I am the very substantive for the whole universe itself. And therefore, being infinite, it is avyayam, inexhaustible, and therefore it is limitless, and therefore it is Ananda Swarupam and Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. And that is Brahma, that is the nature of the Tattvam, that is the nature of the essential reality, and Tvamasi, you are that. That has to be instructions. So I am the totality. So with that understanding, this Pratyagatma, constant inner reflection of I am. This I am is what? It is Paramam Purnam Satswarupam. And that's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says. This is Ahabhinashabad Jahamaham Taya Parama Purna Sat. Paramam Purna Sat, Ahamin Ashabad Jahamaham Taya. So when this local I am, the individual ego I am is gone, what remains is I am without any this, because this is a qualified one, but I am unqualified. Unqualified is infiniteness, nirgunam, and that I am aham taya spurati hrutsvayam, spontaneously raises in the mind because of the understanding. It raises in the mind, in the buddhi only it raises I am in spite of this. And that's how the knowledge will be, and that is called Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. So Atmani, in the buddhi, one has to recognize by analysis, using the Vedanta as a basis for analysis, to recognize not only I am conscious entity and existent entity, I am infinite entity, because I pervade the whole universe also. Even that I rejected is only I am the substantive of both. What I am rejecting only superficial names and forms, and I exist in the superficial names and forms as the very adhara or support for that also. That we will continue in the next talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari